Hey everyone, last month Pastor Derek and I shared some exciting news with you regarding our Multiply vision as a church. We talked about how God has led us to plant two brand new churches. One is an Arabic site, and Pastor Khalil is leading that, who is now in the country with his family, part of our team. And in the days ahead, we'll have an opportunity for you to learn more about him and the journey that God's been leading him on. But today I am joined by Pastor Andrew because he's going to be leading the other church that we have decided that God's called us to start, which is going to be in Brant County. And so, Andrew, first of all, this is my first chance in front of the whole church to say congrats, man.
Thank you.
We're super excited for you in this. Could you just maybe take the church a little bit through why you feel led to do this work of church planting?
Yeah, so it's something that Laura and I have had on our heart for a number of years. We feel like God has been strategically over the last 10 or 12 years preparing us as a family for that. And then last year, about this time, I sat down with yourself and Derek and said, hey, we feel like God's stirring something. And so I got to do some of the background work. And the more I dug into the community of Brant County, just sensed that God was at work there. I've talked to other pastors who say, man, we're right on the cusp of God doing something. If you've driven through anywhere in Brant County or Brantford right now, it's exploding. The opportunity for a gospel presence is massive and growing almost on the daily. And so we just have felt that God's positioned our people there already. Like there's between St. George and Ayr and Paris and Brantford, we have a number, dozens and dozens of people in that area already who are connected to Forward. And the need, because of the growth, is just on a up and to the right trajectory. And we feel like God's positioned Laura and I there and us as Forward Church there. And excited to join forces on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I live in Brant County, so I'm super excited about this opportunity for us as a church, and that you guys are going to be leading our church site there. And I live there, so I see the need. I know what God's doing there in many ways. I'm curious, what is it that you hope God's going to accomplish as we launch into this journey together?
So some of the things we're seeing is there's a ton of new Canadians, right? The nations have come to Brant County, which is a big stark difference from even 5 years ago. You could even say 3 years ago. It's been a really rapid change. And so for me, a heart to see the community that God is bringing there and the community that's already been planted there come and be reconciled, and both encountering the living hope of Jesus. So those who are far from Jesus because they've come from a different part of the world and believe different things, or people who have grown up in Canada and been numb to the gospel, I think ministering to both of those groups together gives us an incredible opportunity to reaffirm the truth of the gospel in our own hearts and then go live and express that. God's put actually a bunch of people who are gifted evangelists in there, and I believe God's got a season ahead for us of sharing the hope of Jesus and seeing a fruitful return on investment.
Yeah,
so that's my hope.
This is for us as a church really about multiplying more disciples of Jesus,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And living out the mission that God's called us to as a church, which is why I know that there are many people who are part of our church community, and God may be calling you to explore being part of Forward in Brant County. And so if God is already maybe stirring something in you, or maybe you've got some questions, Andrew, what are the best next step for someone who's interested in this?
So we are really grassroots, just getting started. So the details, if you're looking for a lot of details, we're praying. That's the majority of the details. And if you want to get a sense of some of the stuff I talked about, we're going to get together on Monday, May 6th here at Forward Cambridge, and we're going to gather together. I'll share some of the stuff that shared with our elders that made them say, okay, let's jump on board with this. Yeah. So I'll share some of that. We'll pray together, and there'll be a chance for you guys to respond and to the call that God may be laying on your heart.
Yeah, so Monday, May 6th, join us for a vision night at Forward Cambridge, where you can hear more from Andrew about all the research and all the work that he's been doing and where God is leading us. I want to encourage you to check that out, church, and just see how God may want you to be part of making more disciples of Jesus in Brant County in the days that are ahead. I also want to share with you a couple of other updates related to Multiply, because as you know, Multiply is about the ministry, but as we've talked about many times, ministry takes money.
Yep.
And so there are a couple of really pressing needs. Multiply as a campaign as a whole is a little over $7 million for us as a church. So within that $7 million, there are a couple of things that are coming up over the next few months that we really need to pay some close attention to. First of all, as we think about Brant County and launching into Brant County, there's going to be a need to purchase some brand new equipment, both in terms of sound equipment and signs and other things, so that we can do church services well in Brant County. And so we are looking at probably an initial investment of about $75,000 of all the different types of equipment that we're going to need to purchase to help see things happen in Brant County. So that's one thing we're going to need to ask God to provide for us and for you to be part of that in the coming weeks. And then the second piece is here at Forward Cambridge, we also have some facility needs. We've talked a lot about that, but a couple of things that are really pressing for us in terms of time. And it's the very unglamorous thing.
There's nothing
glamorous about it. Of the need for HVAC units. We've just had to replace 2 HVAC units on our roof. We have 2 more that are probably going to die before we get to winter. And part of our heart as a church is not only about the ministries we have in our church, but when we talk about Multiply and bringing in an Arabic site who's going to meet in this building, we need to make sure that we are providing a space in our building where ministry can happen and people are not freezing to death in the winter.
Especially if you've come from the Middle East.
Especially if you come from the Middle East. And so those HVAC units, between the 2 we've already purchased and the 2 more we're going to need to purchase in the coming months, are probably going to add up to about $120,000 worth of HVAC units. So I'm asking you as a church to consider how God may be leading you even this month to make a special gift to our Multiply campaign. We are asking the Lord to provide at least $200,000 in the next month or 2 just to help us with some of these initial expenses that we're talking about here today. So would you consider that special gift to the Multiply campaign in the coming weeks? Church, continue to pray for all that God is doing through Multiply, and especially for Andrew and Laura and their family as they get ready to step out in faith and start forward in Brant County and fulfill the calling that God has on their life. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you, brother.
It's a joy to be here.
All right. God bless you, church.